bringing to the administration his esteem as ordering general of the successful powers in Europe. During the Second Great War, Dwight D. Eisenhower got a détente in Korea and worked unremittingly. During his 2 terms, 1953 to 1961, to facilitate the pressures of the virus war, bringing to the administration his renown as telling general of the successful powers in Europe during the Second Great War. Dwight D. Eisenhower got a ceasefire in Korea and worked perpetually during his 2 terms to facilitate the pressures of the virus war. He sought after the moderate strategies of present-day republicanism, bringing up as he left office, America is today the most grounded, generally persuasive, and most useful country on the planet, brought into the world in Texas in 1890. Raised in Abilene, Kansas, Eisenhower was the 3rd of 7 children. He succeeded in sports in secondary school, and got an arrangement to West Point. Positioned in Texas as a subsequent lieutenant, he met Mamie Geneva Dowd, whom he wedded in 1916. In his initial armed force vocation, he succeeded in staff tasks, serving under commanders John J. Pershing, Douglas MacArthur, and Walter Kruger. After Pearl Harbor, General George C. Marshall called him to Washington for a conflict plans task. He told the partnered powers arriving in North Africa in November 1942, on D-Day, 1944, he was preeminent commandant of the soldiers attacking France. After the conflict, he became leader of Columbia College, then, at that point, disappeared. To expect preeminent control over the new NATO powers being gathered in 1951. Conservative messengers to his base camp close to Paris convinced him to run for president in 1952. I, like Ike and was an overpowering motto. Eisenhower won a broad victory. Negotiating from military strength, he attempted to diminish the kinds of the virus war. In 1953, the marking of a détente brought a furnished harmony along the line of South Korea. The demise of Stalin that very year caused shifts in relations with Russia. New Russian pioneers agreed to a truce killing Austria. In the interim, both Russia and the US had created nuclear bombs. With the danger of such horrendous power looming over the world, Eisenhower, with the heads of the English, French, and Russian state-run administrations, met at Geneva in July 1955. The president recommended that the US and Russia trade outlines of one another's tactical foundations and give inside our nation's offices to flying photography to the next country. The Russians welcomed the proposition with quietness. However, were so sincere all through the gatherings that strains loose. Unexpectedly, in September 1955, Eisenhower experienced a cardiovascular failure in Denver, Colorado. Following 7 weeks he left the emergency clinic, and in February 1956 specialists announced his recuperation. In November, he was chosen for his subsequent term. In homegrown strategy, the president sought after a center course, preceding a large portion of the new arrangement and fair arrangement programs, stressing a reasonable financial plan. As integration of schools started, he sent troops into Little Stone, Arkansas, to guarantee consistence with the sets of a government court. He likewise requested the total integration of the military. There should be no peasants in this country. He composed. Eisenhower focused on keeping up with world harmony. He watched with delight the improvement of his Particles for Harmony program, the credit of American uranium to have not countries for serene purposes. Before he left office in January 1961, for his ranch in Gettysburg, he encouraged the need of keeping a satisfactory military strength, yet advised that immense, long proceeded with military consumptions could raise possible threats to our lifestyle. He closed with a request for harmony and quote, in the decency of time, and quote, the two topics stayed ideal and earnest when he passed on, after a long sickness, on Walk 28, 1969.